Germany's high-speed ICE brand has a variety of rolling stock under its roster, but the newest ICE is probably the most unique as well as the most controversial. Meet the ICE-L, the latest generation of high-speed train in Germany, introduced at the beginning of the December timetable change, and I'll be giving you a look inside this brand new train, checking out the revolutions, problems, and most importantly of all, whether you're on a train or a broken roller coaster ride, as we travel between two of Germany's largest cities, Berlin and Cologne. Now join me as the journey continues. Our journey starts first thing in the morning at Berlin Ostbahnhof, or Berlin's East Station. Located in the Friedrichshain quarter of Berlin, the station has been open here since 1842, and during its lengthy period in operation has gone through several name changes, even being known as Berlin Hauptbahnhof from 1987 to 1998. Also, if you have time here, do check out the East Side Gallery just south of the station, which contains the longest remaining section of the Berlin Wall with over 100 murals about its demolition. Speaking of which, Berlin Ostbahnhof was the former eastern terminus station in Berlin prior to the city's reunification and used to see significantly more traffic. Regardless, you'll still find pretty much everything you need here, from ticketing facilities to shops and restaurants, and even a working model railway, once you pay €1 of course. There's even an underground shopping centre too, and with Berlin Ostbahnhof open 24/7, serving around 100,000 people daily, I think it's safe to say this station is well equipped. But anyway, we're here for one thing and one thing only, to catch our ICE-L train, which is ICE 1548 to Köln Hbf, departing from platform 3. Access to the platforms is through the many underground walkways which are located throughout the station. Unfortunately, we won't have to wait long for our train, as it appears to have already arrived. And here it is, the ICE-L. Deutsche Bahn's newest high-speed train and its first order from Spanish manufacturer Talgo since the former City Nightline sleeper stock in the 1990s. 79 ICE-Ls consisting of a whopping 17 carriages were ordered, however, Deutsche Bahn recently reduced the order to 60 trains. The ICE-L features a cab car at the rear for push-pull operation, as well as a dining car in common with other ICEs, and of course, the typical Talgo design of 13-metre carriages with articulated wheel sets featuring only 2 wheels, with the exception of the cab and transition cars, which feature a typical 4-wheel set at the front. This design has made Talgo trains rather infamous for their poor comfort and rather rough ride quality, as is particularly the case with the brand new Talgo Avril high-speed trains in Spain, so I'm quite curious to see how this one turns out. Another reason these trains are rather controversial is they'll be primarily replacing Deutsche Bahn's older intercity fleet on former IC routes, and as such aren't truly considered ICEs by many. They are, however, also replacing the ICE-T trains, which have the same top speed of 230 km per hour, and to this end will be authorised for use in both Germany and Austria, as well as the Netherlands. As these sets are heavily delayed and the older IC1 coaches needed to be urgently replaced, Deutsche Bahn has been using the ICE-3 Neo as a stopgap on the Berlin to Amsterdam route until the ICE-L is authorised for use in the Netherlands, being restricted to use in just Germany for now on the Berlin to Cologne route. The ICE-L is part of the Talgo 230 platform, also on order by Denmark's DSB for use on the Hamburg to Copenhagen route, as well as for low-cost operator Flixtrain on their routes across Germany and beyond. Unlike DSB and Flixtrain, however, Deutsche Bahn also ordered the Talgo Travka locomotive to run with the ICE-L sets, but as these are even more delayed than the coaches, Deutsche Bahn is temporarily using 200 km per hour capable Siemens Vectron locomotives to haul the ICE-Ls. Ours today being a higher end from Czechia's České dráhy. The cab car is also not yet authorised for push-pull operation, so when running in the direction of Berlin, the Vectron is attached to the front of the cab car as shown here. This has been a recurring issue with all new loco haul sets such as the Siemens Railjet 2 due to lengthy approvals, so I can't really bring it down on this front in all honesty. The main party trick of the ICE-L is its low floor, hence the name. This is designed to the 76cm platform heights in Germany and provides true step-free entry onto the train. though the only gap filler is on the wheelchair accessible car, which I find a bit strange in all honesty. We'll be travelling in first class today, which is laid out in a 2x1 configuration and is in the rear 3 carriages of the train in the direction of Cologne. It's definitely a bit bright in here, at least for now, but I otherwise really like the design. It looks very high quality. I should also mention that at the front and rear of the train are where the only steps are on board the ICE-L for these heightened sections here above the end wheel sets. The ICE-L uses the same traffic light system recently implemented on the ICE-3 Neo, amber being reserved, red for barn bonus status holders and green for available seats. As I'm travelling on an Interrail pass without a reservation, I'll just take this seat here. Our route today sees us cross Berlin before joining the high-speed line to Hannover, after which is higher-speed conventional line running across the North Rhine-Westphalia region until we arrive into Cologne at 9 minutes past 12. Our ICE-L train set is expected to take 5 hours and 14 minutes to cover a distance of 589 kilometers or 366 miles, if we're not delayed. We depart Berlin Ostbahnhof on time at 06:55.
Dear guests, welcome aboard the ICE service to Cologne main station. We wish you a pleasant journey.
Our first order of business is to navigate the Berlin urban sprawl. Once this is done, we arrive into Berlin Hauptbahnhof, where it's not as obvious why I boarded at the stop before, but trust me, it's a lot busier than it looks. The train's final pickup-only stop in Berlin is Berlin-Spandau, around 15 minutes after leaving Berlin Hauptbahnhof, located in Berlin's Spandau district, and whilst it's not easy to see in the dark, this station has the longest train shed in Germany, which spans 440 metres or 1,440 feet in length. After leaving Spandau, my first move was to immediately head to the board restaurant located 3 cars down. You can order food from your seat using the menu here and the Deutsche Bahn portal, but I was rather curious to see how this looked, not being a typical ICE train. My other worry was that it would be too busy and crowded, especially given the shorter body profile of the carriages compared to other ICE models, but thankfully this isn't the case for now. There are the traditional bench seats as seen on the Siemens ICEs, albeit with slightly raised sections, but thankfully there are also now these swerved seats which are ideal for lone travellers or pairs. They're quite comfy too. Deutsche Bahn has also put 2 standing tables and padded sections here too, presumably for increased takeout orders and standing space. The one confusing thing about the dining car, for me at least, is that on the outside it's labelled board restaurant, but on the inside it states it's a bistro? Still, the full Deutsche Bahn menu is displayed, which I've of course linked in the description, and I ordered a French breakfast from the attendant. You may also see in the background I've ordered some water, which brings me on to undoubtedly the most key aspect of these trains. Currently, we're on the Berlin to Hannover high-speed line, where we're restricted to 200 km per hour due to this being the top speed of the Vectron. This is still quite a significant speed, and to my surprise, the ICE-L's ride quality was perfectly fine. No shaking, no rattling, it was actually pretty good, especially for a Talgo train. I tried the DSB variant the day before and spoiler alert, no issues there either at high speeds. But Denmark's infrastructure is much newer than Germany's, so I was worried that this was a one-off, but I'm pleased to say that this wasn't the case. I'm guessing the delays were to improve the ride quality then? Daybreak draws near and we soon pass Wolfsburg and the original Volkswagen factory, which has been on this site since 1938, having produced thousands of Volkswagen Beetles and even Kubelwagens during the war. After this, I return to my seat where we can now focus on the interior here in first class. For a new train, I found the seat comfort to be perfectly acceptable and quite similar to that of the ICE-3 Neo. I especially love the headrest cushion, which is very soft and comfortable, and the Deutsche Bahn tag on the material is a nice touch. The armrests are also well padded and foldable at the aisle side, and there's even a generous recline, which I found to be better than most ICE trains. One thing I do have to criticise the ICEL on is the legroom. Whilst there is a very good seat pitch in first class, the legroom is spoiled by the bin just next to the footrest. This is bigger than other ICEs, which is welcome, but that comes at a compromise of reduced legroom at the solo seats, which is a shame. On that note, the tray tables are also much larger than the Siemens ICEs, and as with the ICE3 Neo, there's another smaller section at the top to hold your mobile device in these grooves, which I found to work pretty well. To the right is a fold-away cup holder, again a common ICE feature with a storage net just above the footrest. Reading lights are conveniently located at the headrest, while standard 220V power sockets are located below on the window side. There are also 3 coat hooks at each seat, 2 next to the window and another on the seat in front. And finally, there's a draw-down window blind which, unlike other ICEs, completely blocks out the view, so is useful if you don't want to be disturbed. To be honest, the interior design is much better than I initially expected, but I think the legroom is the most disappointing factor for me. Still, a very high quality interior which will no doubt be welcomed by passengers. We're now exiting the high-speed line and soon enough arrive into the Hannover city limits. To the left is one of Deutsche Bahn's workshops, where a number of inactive IC1 coaches are stabled, a sign of things to come on Germany's long-distance rail scene. This is Hannover Hauptbahnhof, the capital and largest city of the German state of Lower Saxony and the home of the Hannover Fairground, the largest in the world thanks to numerous extensions. The rest of our journey to Cologne is done using upgraded higher speed conventional lines rated for 200 km/h operation, though this is where I started to notice several issues with the ICEL. The first of which being the trains being rather shaky over points, and the second being the noise of the brakes as we come to a stop, as seen here with our stop at Herford.
Und da steht hier ist Fahrtrichtung rechts.
Anyway, let's go take a look at second class, which is in a 2x2 configuration. The ICEL's wide body profile means that whilst the seats are larger than on other ICE models, these are still narrower than those in first. Nevertheless, much of the same features are here, and the space and comfort is still very good for a new train. I'm impressed.
Ey, kein Fass für, was ist das für ein Scheißladen hier?
The section I'm in now is the dedicated family zone. This features a dedicated play space for children, as well as a bookable family space like on the legacy Siemens ICEs. Despite accessibility being the main feature of this train, there's only one dedicated PRM space, which is in car 13, the main upside of this being it's right next to the board restaurant for at-seat service if needed. I also really like that the tables have buttons to adjust the height as users see fit, which is a brilliant feature. There is of course as well an accompanying accessible toilet, which, being a new train that was only in service twice a day for a week at the time of filming, was impeccably clean, as to be expected. One other thing I did notice with the toilets was how most amenities are now touch-free, as seen in the standard toilet here. Even the bin is automated. But of course, the classic paper towels still remain, it seems. I tried continuing through second class towards the front where the bike storage is, however there appeared to be a Christmas party of some sort in the carriages ahead, being thrown by a group of passengers. First time I've seen that on a train. I did still manage to get a look at the bike storage before we left Berlin in case something like this happened, which is in the front carriage and holds space for up to 8 bikes. Reservations must be made in advance and costs €14.99 on the Berlin to Cologne route, which is a bit pricey in my opinion, especially compared to other countries. Rather generous overhead luggage rack storage is available in all carriages, alongside larger racks which are located just next to the vestibules. We're now passing one of Deutsche Bahn's train maintenance facilities in Dortmund, indicating that we're arriving into Dortmund Hauptbahnhof. In the Ruhr region of the state of North Rhine-Westphalia, all of the stops are relatively close together, which is useful as a fair amount of Germany's largest cities are located in this region, which makes train travel all the more useful. You know, if there aren't any significant delays. Soon after, we arrive into Essen Hauptbahnhof, the second largest city in the Ruhr region after Dortmund. For enthusiasts, the city is known for its Stadtbahn network that now runs primarily using ex-DLR stock that used to run in London. Let me know in the comments if you want to see a video on this. We're now entering Düsseldorf Hauptbahnhof, the 7th largest city in Germany and the capital of the country's North Rhine-Westphalia state. With this, we're on the home stretch to Cologne, so it's time to reflect. Overall, I'd say the ICEL left me unexpectedly impressed. Talgo isn't exactly known for good quality products, so to see one come out from them is a positive sign, and I'm confident these will be a much welcome replacement for the old IC stock. That being said, there are a few design flaws and technical issues such as with the brake sounds, but I'm hoping the latter will be ironed out over time given it's still brand new. It's also a bit odd to think of this train as an ICE, not only given the routes it will be used on, but also its primary purpose of phasing out the last of the aging IC1s, and the future price increases to follow on these routes aren't exactly going to be welcomed with open arms. As mentioned earlier, I travelled using a first class Interrail pass, so I just boarded and found an available seat, as reservations aren't compulsory in Germany. Prices on this train are around a month in advance of €50.99 in first class and €37.99 in second class, which isn't bad for a journey of over 5 hours, but remember, fares are demand based, so book ahead to get the best deals. We're now passing Köln Hbf, and shortly afterwards begin to cross the Hohenzollernbrücke. That is, until we have to wait for an available platform. This is just a typical Deutsche Bahn moment right here. That's to be expected though, given with around 1,220 trains per day crossing it, this is Germany's busiest railway bridge, and do take note as well of the many padlocks as we cross, left by couples to symbolise their relationships. Anyway, with the magnificent Kölner Dome in the background, we arrive into Köln Hauptbahnhof 24 minutes late due to the regular congestion on the German rail network. To regular users of Germany's railways, this is quite normal. Now you've heard from me, I want to hear from you. Have you travelled on the ICEL yet? Or the DSB Eurocity variant? What did you think of it, and are you convinced to give it a go after watching this video? Let me know in the comments. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like and share it if you did to aid the channel's growth, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for more content such as this weekly. Now's a good time to take in the sights of the Kölner Dome before grabbing lunch and heading to my next destination. Thanks so much for coming with me on this trip, and I look forward to bringing you with me on my next one.